G'day, legends. Welcome back to Beers and Breakevens. We've got the late show this week, a little bit different. As you learnt earlier today, Kathmandu, a little bit of a coward, not made of the right stuff, cut from very different cloth to that of myself and the great Tim Williams. She's not here today, so we've got no one to ask the questions. So I thought that me and Timmy would team up together for a topic this week that I think you guys will find really interesting. And Timmy, you've cooked up something pretty special for us. What do you got up your sleeve?
Yeah, mate, we've put our 6 brain cells together for this one. And
crowded house.
Thought we'd said shake it up a little bit. Questions format is fantastic, but just come into buy period, do things a little bit differently. And as I said, Kat's not here, being the coward that she is. So what we're going to do is, it's the late show, mate. We like to get a bit weird, a little bit different. So what's more different than looking at super pods for the buy period?
Oh, daddy.
We are looking at the sub 3% ownership players ranked amongst the top 10% overall. So, look, we look at pods, sub 15, 20%, and players that will probably grow in ownership, and they're great. These are the players that if you want to get a little bit risque and take a little bit of a gamble on them, you can soar up the leaderboard. And I've just had a look through a few of them, and there's a ton of them that you can go with. So we're going to have a little bit of a look, mate.
I am very excited about this, Timmy. Just having a quick look through this list. Nathan Cleary, 4.1%. Hello. Big Potterella. Timmy, where do you want to start, mate? You take us away. You direct. I'm doing the 1s and 2s here, just trying to keep my head above water, like scenes out of Titanic over here. You lead the ship, mate. What do you got for us?
Dylan Lucas, 1.8% ownership. Newcastle Knights. He plays around the Knights, having had the bye last week, have arguably the best buy schedule of all teams for the time being. Plays round 13 and round 19, so 2 of the major buy rounds and all of the mini buy rounds. 61 point per game average, 49 base per game, which is outstanding, especially considering, let me just double check, but might have played a few games off bench.
Mate, he's played 2 games that were sub 80 minutes. In those games, he's based 43.
Yeah.
And 27. So just having a look at all of his base stats in games that he's played, 80 minutes, 50, 60, 55, 46, 65, 60, 46, 41. I reckon you're looking at an average of about 53, 54 around that mark. So absolutely golden. And he's played 80 minutes for the last 8 weeks in a row or something?
Yeah, so it looks like, reading between the lines, and we'll certainly get an idea of it this weekend, but I know last week, 2 weeks ago for the Storm, 2 games ago for the Knights, Pierce Paul got moved to the bench and they were sort of easing him, giving him a bit of a rest after playing big minutes all year. But certainly last game that they played, Dylan Lucas, Pierce Paul started, both played 80, and Tyson Frizzell came on off the bench where he's been named this week and used as a middle. So, mate, I think job security, it's all but locked in, isn't it?
I don't have the numbers in front of me also, Timmy, but I would suggest... I know that a number of times throughout this year he's moved to centre to cover injuries as well. So I reckon those base stats are even lower than the reality that they are. But that is the punt you take with Lucas. The one outside back injury, Frizzell goes into that spot. He goes out to the edge.
Even then, he's still playing 80 minutes. So that's not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world. No, that's the only gamble you take. But, mate, I know for a fact he's done that during this period and he's still averaging 60.
I know. And, the big factor I forgot to mention, he's dual 2RF CT dub.
Oh, boy.
Invaluable.
Huge.
Mate, next on the list, a bloke we've mentioned a few times. I'm stunned he's still at the ownership that he is. And you won't have heard of, you'll have heard of these players, but from SuperCoach context, probably not very often. This bloke you would have, and it's Dane Gagai. And I had to add him in. He's still at 2.2% ownership, averaging 64 points per game this season. Again, plays round 13 and 19, all the mini buy rounds. He is basing 39 per game, close to the best in the game for CT dubs. He's only, in terms of major attacking stats this season, 2 tries and 1 try assist, very minimal. He's had double points in tackle breaks, all bar 2 games this season. That's a minimum of 5 tackle breaks per game. He's had 5 line breaks. He's had 0 line break assists, which is mental. He had 10 last year. The only downside to him, and I would be so tempted to buy him this week, your boy Jacko Hastings took over the goal kicking last game, which was the major factor in really wanting him. I still like him, but with the goal kicking gone, that hurts a bit.
It does hurt a bit. I think a positive for Gagai, I really like that he's going to have Cogger on his side over the next few months. I think that helps him, but obviously the goal kicking, you're automatically losing points there without a doubt. As always, mate, I think he's a good option. You look over the last 4 weeks, 89, 62, 58, 68, only one try in that period. So Gags can play, no doubt about it. I had him last year, was very, very happy with him. Who's next, Timbo?
Scotty too hottie, Scotty Sorensen. He is bottoming out nicely in time for the bye period. Unfortunately, and he's a bloke that I was relatively keen on, just doesn't have a great bye period schedule. The Panthers only play round 13 of the major bye rounds. Does cover all the minis, so that's good. But look, he's at 0.3% ownership at 563K. He averaged 66 points per game last year. I never owned him because we were sort of waiting for him to go back to the middle or play lesser minutes, and he was just an 80-minute man on the edge pretty well all year, or for a lot of last year, I should say, for the Panthers. And now with Liam Martin on Origin duty with injury concerns, I don't think he backs up from Origin. We'll miss a lot of action. So Scotty could be close to an 80-minute man throughout this period. And at that price, mate, I think he's a real sneaky buy.
Really interesting, Scotty. I always look at him from a SuperCoach point of view and think I'd love to have him, but I just don't know if I ever will, to be honest with you. But
if he was playing around 16 or 19 and offered coverage there, I reckon I'd do it, especially in a 2RF position that's really poor at the moment, especially when you consider like Crichton becomes a sell because of Origin. Dave Fafita, well, he's potentially dodged Origin as it stands. He has. David Fafita could be around 16 and 19 number, which would be remarkable. But I'm a bit like you, just because of the buy schedule, I can't do it. But yeah, I don't mind it. Head-to-head players, you could be a real go.
Mate, can I chuck one in there, which comes with a little bit of risk, but I have just loved watching him play this year. Tommy Eisenhuth. He's at about 3.2%. He has got the dual position. When he's playing in that 13 jersey, over the last few weeks, his score when he's playing 13, 73, 46, 56, 56, 41, 79, 37 when he moved out to centre, 46 when he moved out to centre last week as well. My only problem is with Tommy Eisenhuth, and I've spoken about this a lot, is that as soon as there is an injury anywhere, he gets fucking fisted.
Yeah.
That's the big gamble you take. But, mate, games where he plays big minutes through the middle, the negative is whenever there's an outside backs injury, he gets shifted out. Whenever there's a forward injury, they look to him to play the bigger minutes. And you have a look a couple of weeks ago, he played 73 minutes for 72 base stats in a game the other day.
Is absurd.
Yeah, there's something there in Tommy Eisenhuth. He's at 3% because it is such a risk to take, 100%.
Yeah.
But one that I think is worth a shout.
Yeah, apologies, Dragons fans, but I just find it so hard to go near any Dragons. Just because I feel like there's no attacking upside there unless your name's Zach Lomax, basically.
Yep.
But yes, you're right, mate. It is a case of the Dylan Lucas is a little bit that he just gets shafted to the back line very quickly. I do wonder, and the bench they've named at the moment, that 4 middle forward bench for this week suggests otherwise, but after what happened on the weekend where Prod Eisenhuth went to centre and copped a bit of a bath, did look like he was carrying a bit of an injury in that game. Do the Dragons change things up and put like a bench utility to cover that moving forward? They've done it in the past, granted not with Flano as much, but yeah, not for me. But if you just lock down the big middle forward role, goodness. Mate, next on my list, a bloke that I have owned in the past. I may have owned him for a period last year, Jesse Ramian.
Yeah.
The Sharks, they have a pretty good bye period. They play round 13 and 19, two of the major bye rounds. Averaging 64 points per game this season. Really, really solid. 36 base per game, up there with the best CT dubs in SuperCoach. A few attacking stats this year, but considering the Sharks are putting on a lot of points, 3 tries and 4 try assists, not a ton. He offloads, he bust tackles, he has a huge work rate, he's in a gun team. I think there's a serious case of Jesse Ramian.
Yeah, he's always been, he's just been a guy in SuperCoach, Tim, that I always think, why aren't you an elite CTW? You have got everything we could possibly want. I wouldn't push back on anyone doing it. I am just interested. I'm very keen to see, to me, how the Sharks respond to what happened to them on the weekend. I don't think they're going to fall into a heap, but fuck, when you're high flying and all that and that sort of shit happens to you, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and then you add in, like, Nico won't play this week. Does he back up from Origin? Losing Nico on his edge probably won't help him too much, but, you know, a game like that can be pretty demoralising, can't it?
Sure can. Mate, can I chuck one at you?
can do that.
1.4% ownership. Playing on the edge now, Victor Radley.
Yes. Yep.
I've always loved and preferred him at 13, but mate, watching him up close on the weekend in the second row, just how direct he is, and obviously he's played for England now, so he's not going to go and play Origin. The Roosters have a very good bye schedule. I think he could absolutely terrorise the Cowboys this weekend. 588k, not cheap, but with the good bye schedule, not going to play Origin. I can get it with Victor Radley.
Not cheap, but also not expensive. 588k,
Yeah.
like you can cop that. Do we think he's made this edge spot his own?
I don't know if he's made the edge spot his own. I think over the next few weeks, I reckon he probably has. But, mate, even if he doesn't make his edge spot his own, when he's jumping in the middle now, he's playing direct. He's putting the footy under the arm and just going forward. I think he's going to play decent minutes for the rest of the season moving forward. So even if he's not on the edge, if he's playing through the middle, I don't overly mind, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you the other thing. At the very least, as a bye coverage player, Crichton missing a heap of games. I mentioned already, I think Crichton doesn't back up from a few Origins, probably 2 and 3 because they've got the bye in round 14. But at least with Crichton out, playing big minutes, Egan Butcher is an edge option. He's gone. So maybe he does continue to play 80 and on the edge throughout the bye period. And if he does, mate, with the attacking upside, how good a line is he running?
Yeah, mate, he's...
Yeah, I don't mind the play.
It's not an option that I will do, but if you did it, I'd be shitting myself.
If I wasn't loaded on Roosters already and round 14 numbers being so tight, huge play. I can't afford to get any more Roosters, I don't think.
Who else are you looking
at? Jordan Rapana. 0.2% ownership, 567 grand. Plays 13 and round 16, the first 2 major bye rounds. Again, he's another one that does miss round 14, so keep that in mind. Last week against the Roosters when they got poleaxed, had his first score under 53 in 7 games this season. 30 base per game. That's down a little bit from a few slightly injury-impacted games. Just the 2 tries and 3 tries this season, try assists this season. Look, again, I probably won't be going near Rapper, but every time he plays fullback, there's always questions that come out. Jordan Rapana, SuperPod. Mate, great bye period schedule. He goes and goes and goes. I think he's rock solid with that dual positioning.
Yeah, I like it. Once again, not a guy that I will go, but I can see the merit in it 100%. I love watching Rapana play from a Supercoach point of view. The few times I've had him throughout the years, he has frustrated me, more so in draft than in Classic.
Yeah.
But, mate, there's no doubting at the moment he's getting through so much work and whatnot.
Next 3 games as well. Dolphins into the bye, into the Cowboys, into the Tigers. So they're great fixtures.
It's not bad. Mate, 0.4%. Sione Katoa for the Cronulla Sharks. 478k at the moment.
Jeez, that's cheap.
That is so cheap, and it's 0.4%. That almost has to be fucking zombie teams, I reckon. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, 2 of his last 3 scores have been 18 and 12.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, as much as I just sort of question the Sharkies, at that price, get a guy like him when he's capable of doing it. Like, I don't like it when Hines isn't in the side.
That's the issue.
But, fuck, 0.4% is low. He's like, and with those low scores there, mate, like he could be 400k in a few weeks' time.
And the thing people need to keep in mind when we're talking about these players, particularly someone like Katoa, and much like our Wishart trade in last week, we're not judging them as 700k players that need to average 75 points. Like, at that price, if they can come in and average 50 and give you major buy round coverage, that's doing a job. Like, they don't have to be superstars. They're not Supercoach guns, but they have high scoring upside. I think he needs Nicho Hines on his right edge.
Yeah, very
Even
fair.
last week, he got... Okay, so here you go. He'd scored really well all season, the 18 and the 12. The 18 was against Penrith when, essentially you put a line through that game regardless. But Nicho also only lasted 31 minutes.
Yep.
And then the Melbourne game where he got 12, Nicho also missed. So outside of that, with Nicho there, he's scoring great. But yeah, Nicho.
Interesting. Who
Mate,
else you got?
I reckon my last one, Helam Lukey was on this list at 3.5% ownership, but just a really poor for overall players buy period schedule. Plays around 13 and the minis, but misses 16 and 19. So just doesn't offer great coverage. The King, and not King Kiraz, but King Gutho. Clint Gutherson returns at fullback for the Eels at 0.1% ownership. He plays around 13 and 19. Look, there's a chance that at some point, and I hope this doesn't happen because it means we probably lose game one, but there's a chance Moses plays Origin and Gutho might kick some goals over the period. Last 4 season averages, Gutho, 79, 68, 75, 70. I think you bought him in around about this time last year.
Yep.
And he went on a tear for you. I think first game you owned him, we were at the game against Manly and he went 140 or something.
Scored 3 tries from dummy half as a good fullback should.
Yeah, but that's what you love about Gutho as a super coach. He goes and goes and goes and he does that shit. Look, you'd love to have seen a game with him back from injury just to see how his injuries are. Like, are they rushing him back because of injury? But look, Sharkies this week missing a few key players, then has the Doggies, Roosters. Okay, so the draw's not the best. Round 17 Knights is fine. Round 18 Bunnies into the Titans. Then you probably look to sell him for the round 20 buy anyway, but we know what he can do.
Mate, the last one that I want to give a little mention to is at 0.1%. He's got a good buy schedule. I've already got too many Roosters as it is, but with Super League playing Origin, who I don't love his passing game, Daniel Tupou, mate.
Ooh.
0.1% over the next few weeks. They play those big games. Teddy's still in the side. They've still got Sammy Walker in there. They've still got an absolutely stacked side. I can see some merit there. Once again, I don't want to talk for you, but I feel like we've got too many Roosters to probably do it. But I find that appealing.
I'm a sucker for Daniel Tupou.
Talk
about blokes that I chat about every single year, and for whatever reason, I don't end up getting him in. But his base is down a bit this year, 30 per game, which is still awesome. But we've seen him like 35 plus in the past.
Yeah,
he's had a game against the Knights. He based 44 earlier in the year. And you look at it and go, all right, he's scored 7 or 8 tries this season. Can he keep it up? Absolutely he can. With the Roosters draw to run home, even with Origin players out there, depth is so absurd, he will keep scoring tries. And I think Tupou, 592K, terrific pod. Do we feel like the Roosters are playing a lot more down the right this year of Manu and Dom Young? I'm just in the top of my head, but a bit less to the left and a lot more to the right?
I think they are, yes, but I think, and because I've got Tupou in draft, I'm watching him very fucking closely.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's hurting him with
short
his
to Crichton
base stats, short to Crichton is one, but also I think teams are coming in with a game plan to kick and put it on the head of Dom Young, take him to ground, and just take him out of the attack.
Yeah.
So I think it's, and it just means Daniel Tupou has to go a long way to get that second hit up. But you can, because I watched him so closely, you see him run across the halfway, and then by the time he gets there, it's sort of, they're already into their set again.
And Manu's always taking the second one to snake it off him as well. Good sharp movement there, mate, for the 1-2.
Right, like that?
The look of shock on your face, how quick, shit, I got to do it.
So, that's one thing I've noticed with Tupes. But, I can understand if people were to make that play. 0.1% for Daniel Tupou. He's still averaging 60.
Plays around 13 and 16.
Something to consider. In saying that, last week he scored 39. The 2 weeks before that, he scored a try, and both of them went 53, 57. But I do think without Suaalii, it does help his cause. But, and that draw after the bye in round 14, he goes Cowboys, bye, Parramatta, Dogs, Tigers, St. George.
It's a joke. Their run home's the best in the comp. I think it's a great play. I've just got too many Roosters. I can't do it. If you're not as stacked, the problem is most people are stacked on Roosters. But you know what, Roo? You kind of want him this week because of the Cowboys game, but maybe he's around 15 purchase after that bye.
Yeah, something to consider there. All right. We done, Timbo? We
are done, mate. I think what we're going to do next week, we've covered the ones this week, but there are so many super pods that are going to emerge next week as well. So I reckon next week we do the super pods from round 14 onwards because that list will change significantly. I already looked at a few and went, hello. We'll do that, and then we'll get back into the questions the week after.
How good. Absolutely love it. Kathmandu should return this week. If she doesn't, she might wash up on a beach. Don't quote me on it, but I will be furious. So hopefully she's back next week. We want to wish Kathmandu all the very best. We love her dearly here at the CBA Centre of Excellence. We done, Timbo?
All good, mate.
All good. How good. Thanks for joining us once again, guys. A little bit different this week. Good luck with SuperCoach this weekend. Captains, trades, all of the above, and we'll see you next week.